Everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. This is Tuesday, May 16th, 2023, and we have got Steven Hall from Hematite Homestead with us tonight, and he's got some exciting news. If you're not following him already, you should. So go on over to Hematite Homestead and go ahead and subscribe to his channel. You can follow him on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as well. But thanks for coming back on, Steve. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, sir.
Tired, man. Having all these piglets running around is like having a newborn in the house.
I seen that, and so why don't we tell everybody when they were born?
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Yeah. So, well, I'll tell you the whole story. They were due last Monday. So they were due last Monday. I took vacation last week, but I was on call for the weekend. So I was really hoping they were going to do it between Monday and Thursday because I had to go back to work Friday.
Right.
Well, they didn't. So I kept checking for milk, and Coco started, you milk them just like you would a cow, their little teats. And once you get milk out of them, the rule of thumb is 24 hours.
Right.
Well, Coco was starting to fill her bags. You could tell it. And I got milk out of her Friday evening, so I knew she was going to go Saturday. Peaches, however, she never got a milk line. She wasn't filling in her milk. I couldn't get no milk out of her, so we didn't think she was going to be Saturday. But you wouldn't believe this. Kelly went out to feed the animals Saturday morning, and oh, wait a minute. Oh, it was Friday. Yeah, I'm lying to you. It was Friday morning, so I got the milk Thursday evening.
Okay.
So I'm at work, right? And she's well, wait a minute. No, okay. I had it right the first time. It was Saturday morning.
Yeah, because Sunday we're going Sunday.
Yeah, Saturday morning. Yeah, so I'm at work, and Kelly texted me and said, hurry home as quick as you can. Peaches already had 2 piglets. It's at 7:30 in the morning. Well, Peaches didn't show no signs of going in labor. She wasn't getting no milk. I couldn't get no milk out of her, and she's the one that went first.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and about 2 hours later, Coco started. I guess Coco was like, hey, you're not doing this without me.
Yeah, well, I'm joining the party.
Yeah, did them all at the same time right there. And
how stressful
I'm really
is that?
glad. What's that?
How stressful is that to have 2 litters of piglets hitting the ground at the same time?
It wasn't stressful for me at all. But
yeah,
pretty much Peaches was done by the time I got home. I can't remember what time I got home. I got home at 9:30 or so. And Peaches was she was done. She already had all her piglets, and she spent a few more hours passing her afterbirth. But,
okay.
So it might have been stressful on Kelly, maybe. I gave Kelly a break when I got home from work that morning, and she went in the house, and I kind of watched Coco do her next 4 or 5, which took a while. Coco had a long labor. Peaches had all her piglets in about 2 hours, and then spent another few hours passing her placentas. But Coco went closer to 6 hours. She had 2, and then she probably went an hour or more before she had any more. Hey, this video that I'm going to try and put on here. So Kelly's in the house, and we're messaging back and forth, and she told me, well, give her those 2 piglets because sometimes suckling helps with contractions.
Right.
So that's why we had them in a clothes basket to keep them away from mom because, mom's in labor.
Right.
Took them out of the clothes basket and put them down there with mom, and they started sucking on her teats. And sure enough, it did the trick. She started popping them out one right after the other.
Well, that's good. So this was Coco's second litter, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And Peach's first litter, right?
Yeah, first time mom.
Okay. And so do you notice, was Peaches just as good at first time around as what Coco was the second time, or what'd you see? What'd you notice?
She did amazing. These Kunekunes are awesome moms, and Peaches did absolutely amazing. And even with the care afterwards, they spend a little bit getting a little bit of rest after they get them all out, and then it's all work from there. About every 20 minutes, they feed them. We try and creep train them to get them out of the feet pass so they don't get stepped on and stuff.
Right.
The mom will call them out of the creep. She'll lay down on the ground. She'll grunt. They'll all come running and they'll get their milk, fall asleep. Usually you got to pick them up, put them back in the creek for the first couple of days till they figure it out. But she's done great. The breed in general is known for being good moms, and she's really careful about how she lays down and where she walks.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you.
Yeah, you could be out in the stall with her. And you got pigs running everywhere now, and she'll get down her nose and like root at them and get them out of the way, and grunts at them like saying, get out of my way. I want to lay down.
Right. Well, that's good because typically pigs they'll just flop and lay on their babies and everything. Most big pigs, like the really long white ones, I don't remember what they're called, like Gloucestershire or something like that. They'll just flop right on them. It seems like they don't care.
That's definitely something to watch out for. And we have had a mom in the past that just plopped down wherever she wanted to, but generally they go around and snort the pigs all out of the way, and they'll get their front 2 feet down on the ground and get real low to the ground. And I don't know if I got any of that on the video I made, but it's really neat to watch. They're really easy. And there is a chance you're going to get a pig underneath the mom because those piglets don't know. They're running all over the place. All they care about is getting some milk.
Right.
But it's easy as they lay down. If you're right there with them, you can get them right out just like that. And
do you think she would feel it if she laid down?
It's hard. I can't put myself in his head, but
right.
I don't know, man.
Because I was just wondering if they were a small enough pig. Maybe that's the reason why. Because I always wondered why they would squish them and not get back up. Like a lot of times you find them when they get up, there'll be a baby pig under them. Like they just sit there and let it waller, and whatever. So I was kind of wondering if maybe the Kunekunes were a smaller breed, where they were smaller, if maybe they would kind of feel a little something. Thank you. Good girl. And want to get back up. So, but
yeah, they definitely squeal because, mom will get them underneath her hoof or something sometimes, and they'll squeal, and she'll pick her legs up.
Okay.
So, but a 200-pound pig laying on a 2-pound piglet, if they squealed, you probably wouldn't hear it.
Right. That's true. That's very true.
So Kelly and I kind of take an extra step on these things. Is the first 36 hours we feel like are the very most critical as far as keeping them from getting laid down on and stepped on.
Right.
And we take shifts around the clock and we babysit them, and we make sure every time mom lays down, every time she's up walking around, that those pigs aren't nowhere near.
Right.
And we haven't lost any to that type of failure yet. So
that's good. So you also have a little, what's it called? A creep or something like that you that you let him
yeah,
get.
So the creep is protected. Mom can't get in there. It's the lowest bore is 8 inches off the ground. That's the rule of thumb for creeps. And you got crush rails around too. The crush rails stick 8 inches away from the wall and 8 inches above the ground, and that gives the piglets an escape path to get it out of mom's path.
Okay.
And the heat lamp is in the creep, and that's why we try and we use that heat lamp all the time on litters, no matter what time of year it is, because that warmth, they're drawn to the warmth, and that gets them trained to, they go out and get their milk from mom, and when they're done, they go back to the warmth, and they all get in a big pile lay down in there.
Okay.
And
otherwise, they would run to mom, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they want to stay where it's warm, so they would try and curl up around her. And they have done some of that, and we fight that by physically picking them up and putting them underneath the heat lamp.
Okay.
And after about a day, instead of picking them up, you kind of hold them on the ground and make them move their feet while they get there. And they figure it out. 36 hours is about the mark.
That's really cool.
I think these guys figured it out in about 24 hours probably this time. And they're doing a really good job of going back in the creek.
That's good. That's good.
Coco's litter last summer, we never could creep train them. They wanted to be laid up underneath the mom's belly the whole time. And no matter how many times we put them in the creek, they just came right back out. But
Did you
you get
give
through
up
that
on it?
first couple of days where they get some size on them and they get some speed to them, where they can get away from mom if she's laying down or walking around or whatever. It's really not that big issue. That first 36 hours is the most critical, really.
Right. Pigs are very intelligent, even at that young of an age. They're super smart.
Yeah, yeah, extremely smart.
So what's the plan moving forward with your? Are you going to do any more breedings this year? What are these piglets? Have you got them lined out for homes yet? Are you looking for buyers? What all
We
are we
we
going to?
have, we have an interest list, and Kelly will go down the list and contact people and let them know what we have available.
Okay.
Um, we we don't sell piglets at this age. We don't take deposits. We don't pre-sell piglets. It's very
Right.
important to us to measure up how they meet against the breed standard before we commit to selling anything.
Right.
And we don't start that process till week 3. You can't really
Okay.
see how they're developing there till week 3.
Right.
But
And
yes, so we do have an interest list, and I think Kelly's actually working through that list right now. And we've got multiple people that are telling us what they're looking for and what they want. And about week 3, we'll start to take commitments and deposits probably.
okay. Shipping. Would you ship them? If let's say Chad New wanted one today, how would Chad New get one?
Okay, so Sooner is our Oklahoma pig that's going to, she's due in 11 days. And we bought her from Oklahoma. And there's a local shipper, livestock shipper, that's based out of Lynchburg, and they run all over the country. And that's who we used. And they, we told the people in Oklahoma, we paid deposit. They arranged the shipping, and
That's
they
cool.
called the shipper, and shipper picked up the pig from them, and we paid the shipper when the shipper brought us the pig, and met us brought it right to our house, and took it off the truck. Yeah, that's kind of how that works. And if Chad New wanted to buy a pig from me, then I would contact the shipper and make the arrangements to have it shipped there. And so the shipper will come to my house, pick up the pig, and when it gets to Chad's house or wherever Chad arranges for it to go, then Chad pays the shipper. Now, if Chad's like, well, I don't have the money to pay the shipper don't drop the pig off.
Right.
And what happens with the pig from that point on, I couldn't tell you. I don't know how that works because we've never experienced that before.
Oh wow.
I don't know if they bring it back to us or call us and make arrangements to bring it back, and then we're probably on the hook for double shipping or something like that.
Right.
But with all that being said, to ship a pig, I think was we paid $200 to ship a pig from Oklahoma to our house. And
it's not bad.
You know what? We talked about driving out there to get it, but I can't drive out there and back for $200.
No. So, that's why I said that's not bad at all.
And the reason and the reason it's so cheap is because they're not just picking up one pig and driving it. They got a route that they're on, and they're filling up their truck full of all kinds of different animals.
Right.
Now, with that being said, when we got Sooner off the truck, we quarantined her in her own pasture away from all the other pigs for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that's really important. That's really important to biosecurity because, came all the way from Oklahoma. It was in contact with a lot of animals between here and there, and you just never know. Everybody likes to think that their animals are good and healthy, but sometimes you just don't know.
That's true. That's very true.
So you got to be really careful with that. Quarantine period is a must.
Yep. Absolutely. What size did you get Sooner at? Was she a piglet or was she a little bit bigger?
She was a piglet. She was probably around 35, 40 pounds, I think.
Okay. So that wasn't too bad.
We picked her up. They actually didn't come to our house because his trailer was too long to pull on our driveway. There's a little gas station within eyesight of our house. It's closed now. It's an empty lot. And he met us there. We drove our car out there. And Kelly was in the passenger side, and she held the pig in her lap back to the house, which, we could have walked over and got it, but
right.
We didn't want to walk back with the pig. But
I
think she was 35 or 40 pounds, I think.
Well, that ain't too bad.
And typically at 8 weeks, that's where Kunekune is going to be. They're going to be in the 35 to 40 pound range.
Right.
I think last year we broke our record at 8 weeks with one of Coco's. His name was Obsidian,
I remember him.
Yeah, I can't remember the weight, but he was the heaviest pig, 8-week pig we ever had.
That's cool. What? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it like in the 50s though?
Yeah, I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look. But
I want to say it was like 53, 52 or 53 or something like that, I think. But
yeah,
if I'm remembering right,
I'm on text.
I really hate this incubator. So, man, I'm gonna shoot that incubator.
Oh, you know what? I actually got that right here in front of me. No, I don't. I don't have the hard drive.
Oh
I'll
man,
message Kelly see if she can get me the number. I can't remember what it was.
I mean it's no big deal. I was just kind of, I was thinking if I
Yeah, I'm
remember right.
curious.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
because I
curious
remember
now
that.
myself too.
I remember him specifically. He was a chunker, man. So,
Yeah. So speaking of chunkers, while we're talking about Obsidian and Coco's last litter, we already mentioned that we don't pre-sell pigs and we don't take deposits on newborns
right,
because you got to give them a period of time to start to develop and show their conformation. And so we still have a pig from Coco's litter last year. Her name is Shadow, and didn't sell her. We did not register her, and she is unwaddled, and that's probably other than that, I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at our records. We keep records of everything. Um, but we did not register her. Although she were able to register her if we want to.
right.
But she wasn't that great of a looking pig, right? But and she's on the tail end of one of these videos, and I'll point it out when we get to it.
Okay.
She right now, she might be the best looking pig on our property. She
Really?
she yeah, she is. She filled out over the last year into a beautiful pig. Now she's
Huh.
unwaddled, but she's got perfect conformation. Man. I was like, wow.
Waddles aren't everything. I don't guess.
No, they're not. And we're part of the American Kunekune Pig Society, and they accept registrations for non-waddle pigs. Some of the other registries don't,
Right.
and won't even let you register if the parents aren't waddled or something. If they are waddled but the parents weren't, you still can't. And that's okay. That's but we are able to register unwaddled pigs, and I think I'd have to go back and look. I don't know if we ever have registered any, but yeah, like you said, that's not a deal breaker. It's more of a cosmetic thing.
Right.
But but
I'm sure.
overall,
I'm sure there's reasons why. What wasn't it because of us they started getting bred out? Right.
well, that's what my concern would have been. And when we very first got into Kunekunes, that was a sticking point for me. I said, I'll never register unwaddled pig. I'll never sell unwaddled pig. I'll never buy unwaddled pig. But after a few years of understanding um, genetics and being careful to not inadvertently destroy certain genes, then yeah, waddles aren't that big of a deal.
Right.
Collars too. I used to be all about collars, but
Collars.
then yeah, but when I
Oh,
started going all
like the color of the pig.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, but after you learn more about the breed, and then even going to all these whole hog workshops that I've been going to over the last couple of years, collar's not so much important to me anymore. The
Right.
conformation and healthiness of the pig is way more important than collar or waddles.
Right. I don't know. I guess I never would have thought anything about a color of one of them. I always, I don't. What is what's the deal with that? What does people want? I guess to see in the color of one.
I the collar variations sell way better than a solid collar pig. We sold all of our cream piglets from Pumpkin's litter 2 years ago. Now they went like hotcakes, and cream piglets were rare at the time, but you're starting to see it more and more. Tri-collared piglets that have 3 different colors in them, they were
Right.
rare, and you're starting to see that more and more and more. And we actually have a couple of them this batch. Those things sold like hotcakes.
Right.
Last year's Coco's litter were all black, and they were really hard to sell. So the collar is a selling point, and it's a draw for a lot of people. It's just all in what you're looking for.
Okay. So it's more of a draw than it is anything else. It's more of a preference to people. Then it's not
Yeah,
really. Go ahead.
When we bought Sooner, we were looking for a tri-collared pig, and we'd reach out to multiple farms looking for one, and that's how she came to our farm, because that's what we wanted.
Okay.
She's also a different bloodline than any of our other pigs, and that's every time we buy a pig, we're trying to add a new bloodline. We don't want to keep adding the same lines over and over. Although we did buy an Andrew pig, so both of these litters. Dad is Simon, and he's Andrew. He's an Andrew boy. His bloodline is Andrew. We bought an Andrew pig, which is Peach's brother, when we bought Peaches, because Kelly liked him that much. He's a brown and white banded. Right. He's got a big white chink in the middle of him, and she fell in love with him when we went to pick up Peaches, and she had to have him. So I was like, she said, "Is it okay if we get another Andrew?" And I said, "You're in charge here, honey. I just pay the man."
Right. So bloodlines, that's like in dogs, right? I guess I was really big into pit bulls, so I had like Tom Garner bloodline, right? And it's just a breeder that's well known, been breeding pigs for I guess several years. Is basically what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, and I don't know the history on all the bloodlines. I know the history on some of them, but yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's all breeders using different bloodlines and genes and stuff, and when the end result is the new bloodline.
Right. In the end, you'll have your own bloodline, essentially. One day.
Well, I don't know that we'll ever get to that point. I think all the bloodlines are DNA confirmed all the way back to the very first Kunekune that was registered. So yeah, you can't really make new bloodlines now.
Oh, okay.
There might be people out there trying to do it I'm not aware of, or you did the research, you might find some people that are trying to get those new bloodlines, but I'm not sure how you get them though.
All right, so from a dog standpoint, here's what is it?
Then we just like to add a little bit of variation when we get new bloodlines. Bloodlines have certain characteristics.
Right. Yeah. It's the same thing for pit bulls. If you went and got a Tom Garner dog, they were mostly Eli dogs, which are usually black and have a really, really wide head, very, very strong bite and stuff like that. And then you would have, your hemp hill dogs, right? And they were usually red nose, and their wider chest, small, narrower head. And stuff, and then you'd breed those together, and essentially what you had done is after you've bred these dogs for a good number of while, you got you've created your own bloodline. Then it's your line, it's your cross. So that's kind of how it worked in the dogs. So I didn't know if it worked the same way in pigs or not, but it doesn't sound like it does.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more complicated than that in this breed of pigs.
Right. So, what else do you got for us? You said you got some videos for us.
Yeah, let me see if I can get that on here. Find my mouse here. Yeah, I was really hoping to have a nice setup out in the farm barn where we could bring a pig right here, but it just didn't.
That's all right, man. That's all right.
Work out that way.
That's okay. It would have been cool, but maybe the next time.
Yeah. I'm not even sure how this is going to work on here. I tried to test it a little bit ago, and it wouldn't let me put it on the screen because I was in the, what do they call it, the back room or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, from what I'd seen, you got to share screen, I think, here. And then I'll go, like if you share screen, I can click accept, and then that will, that'll pull it up. There we go, right there.
Yeah. So how do you put that? So is that on YouTube?
Yeah, here we go.
All right, so what I wanted to start off with here, this was a week before you see Major did it. All right, so that's a good point. You see Major leap at those pigs, and he's got that leash he drags around with him. You've got negative comments from people about take that leash off him. He's not tied to nothing. He just drags it around with him, and that's exactly why, because he doesn't know his role 100%. So he needs to be
Right.
redirected sometime.
Right.
Yeah, this is a week before the fairing, and you see how easy it is to move these pigs. We walked
Right.
these pigs about 75 yards from their pasture over to the new fairing barn, and see Kelly's got a bucket of feed right there. These kids will follow you. I mean, these pigs will follow you to the edge of the earth with a bucket of feed.
Now, all you need some feed. Look at him.
And Coco kind of knows the drill. She knows what's going on. She's been down this road before,
Right.
and she knew. She knew it was time to go to the fairing barn. And see
That's
how
cool.
easy she went in there?
Right. She's right
So
in.
we chose sides on purpose. We chose Coco on this side because it has more shade, and she's being a black pig, doesn't take the heat as well as Peachy would. She's trying to make a U-turn to my pumpkin patch, so I had to redirect her.
She's gonna go in there and get her bike, man.
Yeah, she can't go in there. That's off limits. Yeah, see how easy that is. That's one of the reasons we love these pigs. They are so docile and tame, if that's a good way to describe it. But it's domesticated. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Domesticated. They're like pets, man. There is a pet market for these pigs too. So
there is, and they're super intelligent. I mean, and very loving. They're kind of like a dog in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they are. All right. So this is Peach's litter. She's all done now, and Coco's still working on hers.
Right.
So what I wanted to show here, you kind of see she's already had the two that are in that clothes basket back there on the left.
Right.
And she keeps sitting up and laying down. She was having some labor pains pretty good. And see her moving her mouth as much as she is. She's got cotton mouth big time. When she got done, she went to the water bowl. I bet she drank a gallon of water, man.
Oh, wow. Just so odd that they both held on to the same day.
Yeah.
Look how fast they're up and moving.
Yeah. Yeah, this pig right here is about hour and a half to 2 hours old, I think it was probably. And this is when Kelly suggested to me to give him the mom and get him sucking on her teats, and that'll help her contractions. And that's what I'm doing right here. Took him out of the clothes basket and let her have them. And dragging the umbilical cord around. One thing you got to watch out when you get all the piglets together in the first day is umbilical cords getting wrapped up together.
So you guys, I mean, is there any kind of like a band or something you could put on there to make it dry off quicker and go away? I would have thought she'd have chewed them down a little bit more than that.
Well, she doesn't chew them down at all. Yeah, she doesn't.
Oh, really? Oh, she's not like a dog.
No.
Okay.
They just drag them around, and they come off in about 2.5 days. They dry out pretty. There's a clip a little bit later in this where it's about 22 hours later, and you'll be able to see how dry it is just in that short amount of time. And then about 30 hours or so, they're gone. They're dried up and fell off. We did our first weigh-in yesterday. Was a little over 48 hours old, and all the umbilical cords were gone.
Cool.
Piggy pile. See, so they're underneath the heat lamp, and they always lay in a pile. They climb right up on top of each other.
They do that even when they're adults.
Yeah, they do.
And
you see all the color variations there. This one down here on the left might have a little bit of ginger on its head. We're going to wait a little bit and another week or so and see how that develops. To confirm,
I'm gonna be honest. That one pig there is probably the prettiest little pig I've ever seen.
Which one? The banded one?
Yep.
Well, I got some bad news about that.
Yeah, I know. I seen it. Poor thing. Yeah, now these stripes, them stripes aren't going to stay on them, are they?
No, that's why I stopped it here. So this is a huge selling point. People that don't really know about these pigs, they see that and they're like, "Oh my God, I got to have that."
Right.
That means it's the brown pig, and those stripes will go away. They will not keep those stripes.
Okay.
And when the pig gets older, it'll look like a black pig, but you have to look real close. You'll be able to clearly see at the root and at the hair tips that they're not black, they're brown, but it's hard to tell from a distance. But people, and we've already had people reach out. I want the chipmunk stripes. I want the chipmunk stripes. Well, you know, that they're not going to stay that way, and you got to make sure people know that.
Right. Because if I didn't know that, I would definitely be like, give me that one, you know. But by the time we're ready to get rid of them, they're gone, ain't they? Usually those stripes are gone.
They'll be mostly gone, but they still may have some of them.
Okay.
So this girl right here, she wasn't right from birth. We're thinking she had some oxygen deprivation issues, but she showed some signs of. And
now, what is that? Can I ask what that is real quick before we?
It's where they start breathing in the birth canal and they don't get out quick enough. They don't get enough oxygen, and it causes swelling on the brain. And she was showing signs of that. They'll tick their head and walk around in circles. I thought she had some structural issues, but it probably was oxygen deprivation. These are the ones telling you, we think they got a little bit ginger on the head.
I see
so
that.
That would make these tribal. They would be tricolor, ginger blacks, and whites.
Okay.
So the pig, whatever color they're born is how they're registered. And you can see that pig a year from now. And Peaches is a good example of that. Peaches is a banded ginger white. And now she looks like a creek pig. The ginger's faded out. But according to registry, she'll always be ginger white banded. And that'll be the same for these. That'll probably fade and go away. But however we determine that looks like and register them will be how they're registered.
Well, here's my question. Do you end up having discrepancies later on? Somebody comes out and they know that the history of that pig and they say, well, that pig ain't this color. Because the reason why I say that is I had a lot of issues when I was breeding dogs. We would have dogs that would be black. And then as they got older, they would turn seal point. Well, I done sent the paperwork away for black. And now they've got the seal point in them. And people's like, well, this dog, the paper says it's black, and that dog's seal point. Well, I can't help it. I sent the paperwork off. It was black when I sent it off, and it got seal point as it grew older. You know, I mean, there was nothing you could do about it. And people were very picky. Are people as picky with pigs, or is that just kind of a common knowledge thing that, you know, pigs' colors can change from what they say on their papers?
Yeah, I think it's understood that they change. If you're in the market for Kunekune, you probably understand that. But you know, we take lots of photos, and our paperwork that well, you've got some of the paperwork. Those photos reflect how that pig looked at time of registration. So there's always the proof that yes, that's what it was.
Okay, cool. That's great, because I just wanted to make sure in case anybody, you know, wants to get interested in buying one of these Kunekunes, you know, from you or anybody, you know, and they you know, they can go there and understand, like, hey, you know, this might have said this, but you know, it's a little bit different now, so don't freak out, you know. So, but you can still kind of see hers a little.
So here's a good look. Yeah, you can tell, but if somebody didn't know, then they may not be able to tell. But it's good to point out that you know, the reason it is that way is because on her registration she's ginger white banded, and that's important to know because that means she potentially carries that gene. Even though you see her here, she looks more like a cream pig, and you know, somebody, if we sold her 2 years from now, then somebody would be like, well, she's cream, but no, she's ginger white, and she should carry that gene. You know, so
and she did carry that gene.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, she made one just like her.
Yep. Now, you wouldn't know whether that pig's, you know, I mean, would that pig have come out, grew up, and looked just like mama, or could that pig have actually kept a stronger trait of that ginger in that white band a little bit better?
Yeah, there's no way knowing that without breeding those pigs.
Right.
And seeing what they produce. A good example of that is Pumpkin and Simon had cream piglets, and we were totally shocked when we got cream piglets out of that pairing. And then we went back and did the ancestry research and found that both of those Simon and Pumpkin had grandparents that were cream.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah. So you really just don't know, what you don't know what you're going to get, because they have the genes of their whole family tree. Oh yeah, right. Check this out. This is day 2. I think they're about this is dinner time day 2, so they're probably about 30 hours old at this point, making their way outside. But I got a better shot of this in another video where they're less than 24 hours old and they're already outside, already nibbling on grass.
That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because the black pig can throw a white pig, of course, because of a recessive trait in the bloodline. I go back to breeding dogs. We had one dog, and he was a orange dog, is what he was. He was red on his papers, but he looked orange, right? And he had a white blaze, white chest, white paws. We bred him to our Jip, who was brindle, okay, but had white blaze, white chest, white paws. Well, we had 3 puppies that were tricolor, 2 of them that was reverse tri, and I'm sitting there scratching my head thinking, how in the world did this happen? And started having to ask around where his grandparents and everything, what was in the bloodline exactly. And it was probably 5-6 generations back. There was tricolored dogs in his bloodline, and he threw it that many generations forward. And he didn't throw just a little bit. He threw 5 dogs that were like it. So it's very cool, the genealogy of animals and what they can do, what recessive genes they hold and stuff, except for the bad recessive genes. Those aren't cool, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, since you mentioned that, last year we had a couple of scrotal hernia piglets, and everybody in the world will tell you to never breed those pigs ever again. And I don't agree with that. I think you should try different pairings and see how, Coco is the mom. They had some scrotal hernia pigs, and we will watch out for that this year. But that doesn't mean she's going to have scrotal hernia pigs. And,
no.
If you went and looked in the ancestry of every pig ever born, and you looked at their ancestry all the way back as far as you could possibly research, which you can't do because, you don't DNA verify that every breed on Earth.
Right.
Then you're going to find pigs that have problems like that. You can't get it 100% out.
Right.
Yeah, we want to do our part. If these pigs keep having scrotal hernia piglets over and over and over again, then we'll definitely cull them out of the herd. But I think a one-off is a bad idea to say never do that ever again.
Is that, we also have to think too, is that on the mom or is that on the dad that the scrotal hernia happened?
I think the dad. Yeah, I think the dad is generally considered to carry that gene.
Okay.
But I don't know that. I'm pretty sure when we ran into the problem last year, that's what people told us.
Okay. So. All right. Yeah, because I was wondering. So, man, some good information.
Yeah. Kelly said obsidian was 35 pounds.
Is this another video?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it up. Sorry, what was you saying?
Kelly said obsidian was 35 pounds, 10 ounces.
35. I had it backwards. I had it backwards. I said 53, so I had it backwards. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah. All right, these guys right here are less than a day old. I looked at the timestamp on the video. It was right at 22 hours. Already outside looking around. You can't really see it in this video, but they were nibbling on grass at 22 hours old.
That's cool. That is very, very cool. And they don't have any teeth right now, right?
Yeah, they got a mouthful.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I tried to get some pictures of their teeth yesterday when we were doing weigh-ins so that I could show that, because I kind of saw that this is where this was headed with just being able to do videos, and they weren't cooperating with that at all. So
now, when are you going to get rid of their needle teeth?
We usually do that on day 3. Today is day 3, but we're not doing it today. We're going to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
I think that's all of that one. Yep. And then I think I got one more in here I'll pull up, and that'll be that.
All right.
I must have edited it out. I must have edited out one of the videos. I pointed out the water bowl in Peach's stall, I think. Right. And it's just a skiff of water on the bottom of that bowl. And, that's the kind of things people look at, and you get the negative comments about, you need to give that pig some water, blah, blah. We do that on purpose. We got to make sure that the water bowl is below drown depth for a piglet, because they will get in them.
Yep.
So we only keep about an inch to inch and a half of water in there until the piglets are big enough that we're not worried about them drowning. Right. And we keep it fresh and keep it at that level at all times. So, the pig's got plenty of water, but that's on purpose to keep piglets from drowning.
That's good to know, because, again, people who never have had pigs, right? And they're going to be the first ones to say you got to give it water. You know what I mean? Without ever asking, hey, why is the water low?
Yeah, it's like measuring his leash. People don't know, and they just automatically attack you over stuff like that. But
just to make
water. And you know what? We drowned a chick. It might have been last year or the year before. I can't remember, because we were too dumb and left the water bowl full. Chick got in it, couldn't get out.
I mean, it happens. The
thing I wanted to point out here was Peach is grunting at me. She's upset that I'm in here and she wants me out.
Why does she want you out of there?
Because I'm messing with her pigs and her space.
Okay.
Yeah, there's where we're going to the water bowl. So you see, there's very little water in it. It's pretty fertile. Yeah, right. She don't want me in there. She's upset with me. And I listened to her. I moved out. I got out of the way.
She's getting pretty vocal there.
Yeah, I was just trying to get some YouTube footage. I was like, okay, Mama, I got you. I'm out of here.
Right. She's being a real good mama there, ain't she?
Yeah, so yesterday when we got the piglets out and we're doing our way in, we were doing it right behind the birthing stalls, and those pigs were raising. They were hollering and screaming, and that gets moms really upset. So we had to try and work really fast, get them weighed. We gave them a shot of iodine yesterday. Got them back in the pens. It's just quick.
So there's a couple shots you got to give them, right? You got to give them iodine and iron, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Iron's what I meant to say. I don't know why I said iodine. Yeah, iron's what we gave them yesterday, and it's not a shot. When I say shot, it's a little pump thing that we pump liquid in the mouth. So we weren't giving the injection. I guess I used a bad term, but we just pump it. If you see my hand there, I don't think you see my hand.
It's okay.
It's just a little pump, and you just pump the top of it, and it puts the right amount. I think it's 3 ounces.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you do got to give them something, right? Like, aren't there? What else do you give them?
Yeah, there's a series of injections they'll get: ivermectin or Dectomax. It's a parasite reducer, dewormer, and Rhinoshield. Rhinoshield is. I'd have to look that up. I don't remember what that's for. This is where it'd be nice if Kelly would do these things with me, because she has the answers to all these questions.
It's all right.
I'm like the muscle and she's the brains,
Right, dude. I always say I'm the head of the house, and she's the neck. She's the one that turns the head. Most important part.
Of course, I'm trying to look up Rhinoshield, and all I'm getting is phone cases.
That's funny. So
I don't know if that Rhinoshield is on the ban list that you won't be able to get anymore.
Oh,
all right. It's for use in healthy swine as an aid in prevention of atrophic rhinitis caused by stick with me here, Bordetella, brocchi, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So with all that being said, I'm not sure exactly what all that means. But we were instructed when we first got into this business by our mentor that it was a necessity.
Right.
And yeah, and we made a practice of doing it.
Yeah, I see it here. It's almost like a shot for dogs, because you got to give them shots for. I think that 7-in-1 is one for Bordetella and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that. But it's a big old bottle. So how they only get one dose of that, or is it like a series of that?
I'm trying to remember. I think we only give one of those. We give two dewormers and one of these. You don't have your paperwork handy in front of you, do you?
No, it's in there in the bedroom with the rest of the stuff, all the other papers I got for animals.
I don't have the hard drive that stuff is on here with me.
It's okay.
I keep all records, all that. I don't think I have it with me.
No, that's fine.
But you gonna like post the video? How's that work? I don't even know how that works.
Right now it's on live, so they're watching it right now. So, and then it
right, so when you post it,
huh?
Yes. When you post it, I can go back and add a comment. I'll get my paperwork.
Well, you can actually comment right now if you wanted to. I mean, well, if
but I don't have the information.
Yeah. So, well, what? How many times do you breed these pigs a year? You only breed them in the spring, or do you breed them later on in the year?
So, I mean, if you're asking what we specifically do, we've typically only bred once a year.
Okay.
We were shooting to do 2 breedings this year, do a spring and do a fall. I think we're up in the air about the fall right now because the market's extremely flooded right now, and we're kind of afraid that if we get stuck with pigs from these 3 litters, that we're not going to be able to handle anymore. We got small. We're less than 5 acres, so we got to be really careful we don't flood our property with pigs.
That's true.
I think we're up in the air about that right now. But as far as the ability of the pig is, when you wean these pigs, they'll go into heat right after that, and a lot of people breed them back. So
really?
You're essentially having pigs every 4 months. We don't do that, but it can be done.
Okay.
I feel bad for them. My heart's too soft for them to go around pregnant all year.
I don't think I could breed them like that, man. I maybe twice a year, but I don't think every time they turn around I'd breed them.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done it. We've only bred once a year, and I think that's plenty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think
we're not selling market hogs here, where you grow them out in 6 weeks. These things take 2 years to grow out. So
right, exactly. I mean, and you're not.
What
is it?
So the bigger Kunekune farms, if you get on their Facebook pages or websites or stuff, you'll probably find that they farrow multiple times a year, probably 2 at a minimum and 3 to 4 possibly. So, if we were bigger and had a lot more sows where we could pick different pairings and not breed the same ones over and over, then we might do that.
Right.
But we've let's see, cocoa, peachy, pumpkin, poppy. Let's see, we've only got four females that. I mean, we could breed shadows, so that would be 5. So
right.
Realistically, we could stack those up to where we were having piglets all year long, and that might happen in the future, but it's not going to happen this year.
Okay. Well, that was one thing I was kind of wondering is if you were to have a litter in the spring, and then time it to where as you were getting that one ready to be gone, you had another litter being born, and staggered them all through the year like that, do you think it would, be, easier, or do you think you would run into the same kind of deal you have putting them all in the spring?
For me personally, I'd rather do them all at once and have a block period of 8 weeks, that you're committed to that. You go beyond that, you start to stretch it out into pumpkin season and harvesting season, away all season, which is not as important as the pigs, but there's lots of other things that we do. Everything is seasonal, and it's like, there's lots of other things we want to do, and I can't imagine taking up 6-8 months of piglet care.
That would be a lot.
For me personally, I'd rather do them all and be done with it. Last year, and we didn't do it on purpose last year, it's just the way it worked out. We had a litter of piglets. In 8 weeks, we had them all sold, all of them gone, and then we moved the new pig into the farrowing barn and did it again.
Right.
And it was just luck on our part that it worked out that way. It's not like we planned that this pig will be ready at the 8-week mark. We knew we wanted to breed the other pig, but we didn't put that much thought into it. We just got lucky and nailed it, so that when all the piglets from the first litter were gone, that the new pig was ready to move in and have theirs.
That's cool.
But I think I prefer this better. I think I'd rather have them all and have one block of time where you have to commit to that and then move on to something else.
Right. Now, here's another question I have. Would you breed, further back in the winter to have an earlier spring, or are you going to always aim for the 1st of May, first part of May having a litter?
No, I think what we would really like to target is having piglets in March.
Okay.
But we missed that mark this year because we weren't ready. We needed to isolate pigs in a different area, and we didn't have that area ready yet. So getting that area ready, we missed a mark to have March piglets, and that's how we ended up with piglets in May.
Okay.
But yeah, I would rather have them in even late February would be okay with me. Kelly's a little iffy on that because of how low the temperatures are. But me personally, I'd rather start putting piglets on the ground early March.
Right. So is it why do you think it'd be better? Is it for me up here, I would think the heat, would be something you would want to try to avoid, with piglets and stuff. But like real hot, right? Like it's all right when they're babies and they're in there underneath the heat lamp, but maybe whenever it's like 100 some degrees outside, 90 degrees outside, it would be extremely hot for them. Is that a reason why you want to have them back in March or not March, but have them in March? That's right.
Well, it goes both ways. The rule of thumb on a Kunekune is below 40 degrees, you got to have them under a heat lamp. So, in March, we have a lot of days below 40 degrees, especially at night.
Right.
So if you don't have those heat lamps and things like that available, then, you risk a danger of losing piglets to being too cold.
Right.
And in the summertime is very rough on a pig. If you don't have wallows and water and mud, you're going to lose pigs.
Right.
And that's why I would prefer to do it earlier, because we have potential to have 100-degree days in July and August, and that'd be a tough time for a piglet. And there's no relief. So you heard in these videos all the fans running, and I tried to volume them down as possible. We built this farrowing barn, and I thought I had it ventilated enough, but evidently we didn't, and it was like 85 degrees in there and hot and muggy, so we had fans all over the place blowing, trying to cool things off and keep those mamas cool.
Right. I thought that's what that was.
Yeah. So there's no wallows out on this, and we could have dug a wallow, but half of this farrowing pasture sits on my drain field, and I can't do no digging on that, and hopefully the pigs won't either.
Right.
So we we got the real big, large size kiddie pools and cut a little slot out of them where the pig can fit into it and fill those up with water. And we didn't have it out there yet. And Coco, like I said, she's a black pig, and she needs stuff like that because she gets a lot hotter than the other pigs.
Right.
And her water bowl was empty over and over and over and over again. I was like, man, she's being awful rough on this water bowl. Well, then I caught her. I walked in there, and she's trying to cool off in it. She's trying to sit in the water bowl.
Right.
And that's what I hollered at Kelly and said, man, we got to get these pools out here like right now. And that's what we did. We put the pools out, put about 2 inches of water or so in them, which is a lot because it's a big pool. It's plenty for the pig. They just laid their belly down in it and get nice and cool. And Peaches and Coco, they both went into those and laid in them for hours.
That's cool.
So, yeah, with all that being said, I think hot summer on a little 3-pound piglet would be really rough, man.
That's what I was thinking. It would be pretty tough on them. And that, I mean, I understand they need the heat, like you were saying, but at the same time, too much on a pig's rough. So that's kind of why I thought you wanted them further back in the early spring.
Yeah, in the cooler months, it's a lot easier for us to control the atmosphere inside the barn. And
right.
Obviously we can't control it outside, but on the inside we can provide heat lamps, we can close the windows and doors, we can give them those things to get them through. In the heart of the summer, it's a lot harder to do.
Right. Now with those pools, is your pigs destructive like mine? Because mine would take them pools and they would flip them and break them up in about 5 minutes. They wouldn't last very long.
Well, she hasn't destroyed it, but she did flip it up one side, dump all the water out of it one day, and I just put it back down and filled it back up. And, we'll just keep doing that over and over and over again.
Right.
They haven't destroyed them yet. They're still usable, but yeah, they'll. I don't know if they're trying to create a wallow, which they will do.
Right.
And
they will purposely empty water to do it.
Yeah. She put her snoot right underneath of it and flipped it right over.
Yep. And, mine.
So
if it ain't wet enough for them, they will. Petunia and Violet will both go over there, take turns emptying the 55-gallon drum, the water bottle, right? The big old, I got a nipple on there for them. They will go over there and empty it on purpose just to flood it so they can have a bunch of water to muck around in because it ain't wet enough for them. So pigs absolutely love them.
Yeah, and we had when the girls were in the old pasture where we actually have the boars now, you ought to see the massive lagoon they dug over there by my apple tree. We had wallows for them, but this place was naturally wet, and they just dug and dug and dug and dug, and they made a nice little lagoon over there, which the boys are enjoying now. But
that's funny. They're probably like, "Hey, thanks for all the hard work." Yeah, man.
Yeah, those lazy boys ain't never done nothing like that. But them girls, man, they went to town over there.
It seems like the males just do not have enough oomph in them. They, mine won't even. This is what has frustrated me with the pigs. So I guess Petunia, like I separated them all winter long, and I let Violet and Petunia stay together, and I separated Wilbur. And every time Petunia went into heat, he rooted and tried to lift up on the cattle panels and everything, wanting over to Petunia. And so he was out there one day, and she'd put her butt over her, let him have a sniff, and then she'd walk away. And well, anyhow, I finally said, okay, I'll let him in. So I let him in, and I watched him for 2-3 days. He tried his best to do whatever he could with her, and she would not let him. She'd run at him. She'd hit him, like, snout first, hit him, turn around and flop her butt toward him, and then he would jump up on her back. She'd take off running. And she would do this repetitively. And then she would get to where she would start biting at him and squealing at him and, all up here on the neck and stuff. And he just, I guess she had ran away from him so many times. He's like, I'm not wasting energy to jump on your back and then you take off running on me again. So he wouldn't do anything. And still to this now, he still will not attempt to breed her now. So I don't know if she just got too rough on him or what, but he's so lazy he won't do a dag blame thing, and she won't let him breed. So I'm kind of frustrated at them two pigs, and Violet's just kind of standing around going, yeah, this is nuts around here, So she's getting, she'll be a year old. Well, no, she is a year old now, and and we picked her up on June 7th last year. So we've almost had her for a full year. But she's getting to where, we're going to have to figure this out, because I'm going to have to breed her. And if Wilbur ain't going to breed Petunia, he definitely ain't going to breed Violet, So I'm trying to figure it all out, and we're going to get rid of Petunia. I don't know what to do with Wilbur yet, but I'm looking at some of your boars, and if I'm like, hey, I might have to get one of them, because this one here ain't doing his job. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Not from the boars. We do have a female that won't let the boars breed her, and
Right.
That's been since day one. But the boars, man, they'll breed a stick in the ground.
Right.
Stick in the ground, each other, the goats, the dog.
Right. If you lay down long enough,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not even joking. Not so much me, but I don't know if it's because she's a female and they know it, but they get quite aggressive when Kelly gets around. And we collect the poop out of the pastures and put it in compost.
Right.
And Oliver, man, that rake that we rake the poop up with is a turn on for him. And he just starts shooting all over the ground, sticking it in every hole in the ground, trying to mount Kelly. Yeah, I don't know what it is about that rake, but it's more.
Well, so I guess I made a horrible mistake last year. I should have kept Chili Mac, because Chili Mac would hump the doghouse. The doghouse, how they got those vent slots in the back? Well, he would stand up on there, and he would get his thing in that bottom vent hole on the back of that. And it would do that little spinny thing that they do, and it would get up in there, and he would just pump, and then it would fall out, and he would start squirting all over the back of the. It was a mess. But that pig.
So Oliver likes.
What?
Oliver likes to scratch up on my legs when I'm over in the pasture with the boars. He'll come up to me and scratch his back on my legs, and that's fine. I let him do it all the time. it's part of our thing.
Right.
Give him a little pat on the side and pet on him. But sometimes he'll get turned on for whatever reason, and he thinks he's going to play that game with me, and then I just walk away from him. I was like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
You can go over and do it in the ground or whatever, but you're not doing that with me.
Yeah, I don't understand it. It's it comes out of nowhere. So,
yeah.
But Wilbur's not like that, man. Wilbur he's not like that at all. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know if Petunia's beat him up so bad. I don't know. And then I told Annie, I said, I want to get rid of Petunia. I want to go ahead and get. Annie said we had to sell her. We couldn't eat her. So I said, okay. But I want to kind of see if we get rid of her, if Wilbur would start acting better. You know what I mean? And maybe start acting like a boar, like he's supposed to, instead of, But, how long should a person wait, to see if he's going to man up, I reckon?
Yeah, I think in our case is we gave Poppy 3 attempts, which was 3 years.
Okay.
And after that, I'm not ready to quit, but I think Kelly is. She's not interested in trying anymore with her. So we gave her 3 chances, which was for us 3 years. But you can, if you're going to give 3 chances in a year,
right?
You just have to determine yourself how committed you are to make it happen. And with Poppy, we, Kelly and I are on the same page with her, but I'm willing to do what Kelly wants. So she's a pet now. She's just going to walk around the farm. She's the first one we ever owned.
Right.
And she walks around like the queen of the herd. She absolutely is the queen of the herd, but she won't let the boys touch her.
Do they not have a stand that you guys could? Because I know when I was breeding dogs, we had dog stands, and if the female wouldn't breed, we'd put them in that dog stand and we would breed them.
They may have stuff like that, and I've had multiple people mention to me that we should try AI, but I feel bad about forcing it on them.
Okay.
If she doesn't want to do it. If she doesn't want to do it, I'm willing to throw in the towel and say, okay. A lot of people would process her at this point, which is what I was leaning towards for me.
Right.
But Kelly absolutely will not do that. And okay, I understand. So
I got it too. Annie won't let me kill her, and I'm just salivating ready to butcher her or put her in the freezer.
the bad thing about Poppy is her conformation for a meat pig is spot on. She's got the most beautiful hands you ever seen. It's a shame
So
we couldn't get her to breed, especially if we bred her with the Andrew Boar, because they got beautiful hands too.
right.
But and that's how I look at her. I'm like, she a 4-year-old sow, that's like perfect for charcuterie, man, in the Kunekune world. And I
Right.
would,
You're
but
sitting there like Bugs
I mean, it's
Bunny or
okay.
something, right? Like whenever he's like, yeah, he starts looking at somebody for so long, and he starts turning into a steak or whatever. He's like, that's
Yeah,
what you're doing. You're sitting there looking at her like, man, that's some
yeah.
good charcuterie right there. You don't even see a pig anymore. Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm willing to support how Kelly feels about it. So we'll have her until she dies of old age, I guess. And I don't know what that is for Kunekune. I saw where people have had them from 10 to 14 years. So
That's a long
we've
time.
had her. We've had her for a little over 5 now, so she's got a ways to go yet.
Yep. And who knows?
But
Maybe one day she will.
yeah,
Maybe one.
like I
Maybe.
said, as far as a meat pig standpoint, on the Kunekune side, I would love to breed her with Andrew, because they would make the most beautiful meat pigs in a Kunekune you ever seen.
That brings up a question that I had that I wanted to ask you before we get into giant growing. If you got one of these pigs and you've been breeding it for X amount of time, I don't know how long you plan to breed a certain pig, but the question is, after you're done breeding, you say, okay, this pig's had enough. Will you butcher that pig? Is there a age limit to where it's like, no, this pig's too old to butcher? It's just going to be tough or whatever.
All right, so speaking towards Kunekunes and not other pig breeds, because I'm not familiar with other pig breeds, but these whole hog shops I've been going to are charcuterie intensive, and the older the sow is, the more they prefer, because they're way better for charcuterie. They make the best prosciuttos and stuff like that.
Okay. All right.
So I think 4.5 years old is the target range for stuff like that. But if you're looking for pork chops and bacon, that's probably a little too old.
Okay. All right.
I think if you're looking for pork chops and bacon, you're probably talking more like 2 years. But for us, unless you just didn't like the piglets you were getting out of them, 2 years is not really a very good breeding cycle. I would
Right.
like to think this. I would like to think 7 years. And from the people we talk to in the community, 7 years is about what everybody breeds for a sow.
Okay.
So
And then they quit.
I would like. Well, I mean, not necessarily they quit. We quit. We move on to a new one and lay off of them, so to speak.
Right.
So,
And then you'll butcher and use it for charcuterie or no?
that would be my plan. I
Okay.
would have to fight the partner on that probably, but yes, that's definitely what my plan would be. And at the same time, we're keeping offspring and recreating the bloodline on the farm. You never get rid of one until you have a replacement for it.
Right.
So, if you can just say our area Gianna, if she was on the chopping block a year from now, then we want to plan to have piglets from her and keep the best female out of her litter to replace her.
Well, here, if it was me, I mean, just kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't you want to get that pig? Like you say, okay, she's going to come up on 7 years, and I want something to replace her as soon as she's gone. So I'm going to keep a pig out of year 5, maybe
Yeah,
6, right?
yeah, that's right. At least a year in advance, because you're not supposed to breed them till 14 months. A
Okay.
female Kunekune reaches sexual maturity at about 14 months,
Okay.
and it's size dependent too. And we found in our experience that 14 months is the perfect age and perfect size.
Okay.
So yes, you're absolutely right. You got to think ahead, and
Okay.
and like we talked about how Shadow changed her conformation over the course of the year, you got to keep that in
Right.
mind too, because you can't schedule the butchering not knowing what your conformation might end up with a year from now. So you got to keep
That's
that
very
in
true.
mind.
Yep. That's very true. So, giant growing. What do we got going out there? What's growing? What's not growing? What's the plans for this year?
Um, So far, the only thing I got is giant pumpkins. I do have a giant watermelon going in the house, but I haven't decided if I'm going to pursue that or not yet. My, if you watch my pumpkin videos, my goal is this year is one fruit to one scale. I've never been to scale before, and I had bigger goals than that in my mind when I was thinking through what I was going to do this year, and I scaled that back. I said, man, you know what? I'm trying to bite off too much. I'm trying to be the champion of the world right off the bat. Let's take baby steps on this. So
Eh,
one fruit, one scale. And if I get more than that, fine, that's great. But
right.
I currently have 12. I currently have 12 giant pumpkins in the patch in the ground, and that's all. Yeah, just look at the look on your face. Like for one fruit, well, based on my experience, last year I had 4 in the ground. I didn't get no fruit. So,
12 of them.
to keep, but keep in mind they're all paired up.
Okay,
So
so you
by
but you still
by
have
Sunday,
6 of them.
by Sunday this week there will only be 6, and I'm prioritizing which ones I hope will do better. And as the
Okay,
season goes on and pumpkins are not performing or taking up too much of my time, I'm going to continue to cull all season, keeping in mind that I want that one fruit on one scale.
hang on,
With that
hang
being
on.
said,
You're going to cull plants all season.
no, I'm not saying I'm going to, but if it
Oh,
comes down to it,
okay,
I will. But I'm
okay,
not planning on. I'm planning on growing 6 full size plants.
okay. All
Right
right,
now I have 12, and by this Sunday I'm going to cut those 12 down to 6. Everything's paired up, and we're going
you,
to go from there.
man.
But
You're
here's another interesting kicker: is I did some test plants, and I can't remember the date. I'd have to go back home and look at my book. I did some test plants earlier in the year, and with no intentions of growing them. Well, I had the 1825 quality was one of those plants, and man, it looked so good. I didn't have the heart to call it. And guess where it's at?
out
It's
there.
in the
There you
pumpkin
go.
patch.
There
So
you go.
that it is where the reason I'm bringing that up is because it is where my giant watermelon is going to go. So I'm going to watch its quality. It's struggling a little bit, understandably so. It was in a pot in the house for 2 months,
Right.
but I'm going to watch it for another few days and make a decision whether I'm going to go after it or if I'm going to yank it out and put the watermelon there. And if I decide to keep the quality, this storm came through today, probably killed it. It's the only plant that's out in the weather. Everything else is inside a hut right now, which I did on purpose because I knew the storm was coming today. I wanted it protected from that storm. The
Right.
quality is the only plant out in the, and if I get home and stems broke on it or something, then I'll just put the watermelon there.
Well,
But if that's not the case and the quality continues to do well, I need to figure out where to put this watermelon. I want to grow this watermelon, but I can't put it in. My pumpkin patch is full. I can't put nothing else out there.
put it in your compost pile.
I thought about that, and now that you mention that, so I had some coal plants where I had multiple plants of, and they didn't all make it into the patch. And I was just going to toss them in the compost and compost them. And I said, why are you doing that? Plant them in the compost. So that's what I did.
There
I
you
have
go.
3 plants in the compost. I just planted in there, and they're not going to get any attention at all. We'll see what they do.
I tell
But all
you,
my test plants will start planted in the compost pile.
well, the reason why I said that is because compost piles are generally high in phosphorus and they got compost in them. They got organic matter. Pumpkins love phosphorus and organic matter more than pumpkins do. That watermelon love it more than pumpkins do. So yeah, I mean, if you plant that watermelon in there, I'd take it. I'd rake me out a little bed, of it, and not maybe like an inch or not an inch, but like maybe 2 inches thick. Just plant the stump of it actually in the compost pile, and then let that come out there and grow that main vine. Just let that main vine grow out there on top of that 2 inches worth of compost. And I'm telling you what, I believe you could grow yourself a big old watermelon.
Yeah, so the compost pile, if you remember my videos from last year, it volunteers all kinds of stuff, mainly pumpkins. and it's
Well,
going through
whenever
that
I
right
was
now.
down there, it had a bunch of them,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were there and saw it.
Yep.
I'm actually pulling pumpkins out of it right now. It's growing. It's sprouting so many of them. I'm like, well, all of these can't grow. Plus,
Right.
I put some giants in there that were coals, and I was like, well, I have to choose. I'm either going to try and push these giants in the compost, or I'm going to let the compost do what it wants to with all these other ones.
Right.
But I'm not going to pull them all. But yeah, it's sprouting so many of them that I've been pulling them the last few days. I've been pulling
That's
one
funny.
here and there. I'm leaving some, but it's just sprouting
Right.
so many I can't leave them all.
That's funny. You might want to end up putting a ribbon or something around them 3 coals that you put out there. Just tie a ribbon or something around them so you know which ones they are.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to do that. And one of them's already been destroyed by the dogs, so I need to fence it off. Yeah, it's heartbreaking too. I was like, it didn't even get a chance. It was a plant that had 3 cots and looked like it was going to double vine. And I wasn't going to put it in the pumpkin patch, but I was like, you know what? If it double vines in the compost pile, I don't give it. I don't care.
Well, and that would have allowed you to play with it some and kind of get used to messing with it, because it may come down to, maybe, it might be a world record seed one day that you have, a 2907 or something, right? You're trying to grow it and it grows into a double vine. You're going to want to have that knowledge of taking that double vine back down to a single vine and continuing that grow on. So,
yeah, unfortunately, the dog already played with it and it exists no more.
Right. So, but
yeah, I am probably going to put a fence around that compost pile because Major will just continue to destroy it if I don't keep him out of it. And I do want to see what those plants do on their own.
I do too. I want to see what you pull out there. It'd be pretty cool if you pulled some, 500-600 pounders out of there. So that'd be a lot of fun.
The one I grew the 250-pound on last year, the 400 house. It's in the compost pile. It was one of my test plants, and I never took it out of the 8-ounce cup. It was in my house for 2 months in an 8-ounce cup.
That's funny. That is very funny.
I planted it in the compost on purpose to say, all right, let's see if this compost brings this thing back to life, because it's struggling bad. I mean, you can imagine 2 months in an 8-ounce cup.
Yeah. That's funny.
I picked all the buds off. It had all kinds of flowers on it and stuff. I picked them all off and planted in there, and the leaves are actually starting to get bigger. So
that's cool,
man. It hasn't taken off yet, but I hope it does.
That'd be a cool experiment to play with right there. So, you got any giant tomatoes growing?
Ryan, I was unable to germinate any giant tomatoes. I tried 12 times and 3 different methods, 12 times, 12 seeds, and I could not germinate a single one. It doesn't make any sense to me because I germinated multitudes of different varieties of tomatoes and never had any issue. And I couldn't get a single giant tomato to come up.
I'll send you some more, man.
Oh, I got plenty. I just decided that it was too late. Put that to bed for the year and try again next year. I still have plenty of the seed.
Well, look, I've not planted my giant tomatoes yet.
What? You haven't even germinated?
Nope.
What are you waiting for?
They're all right here.
I ain't even started.
Well, here's the reason why I didn't start them. So I will not plant out anything up here until I know it's not going to frost. But I always do good. I always, between the 15th of May and the 1st of June, I typically start planting out. And I'm typically done planting out everything by June 10th. And I always end up having a good harvest. Well, I was told that you got to have them giant tomatoes breathing fire. So as soon as they outgrow, like if you were to plant them in this, right? And you step them up from that to this grow bag right here, which is it's a 5x5 grow bag, I think. By the time it's ready to be put in there, you want it breathing fire is what Pork Chop told me. He said, you need to take that thing and it needs no kind of weight, no kind of pause or anything. It needs to go from one thing to the next and right in the ground, whenever it's, that tall. Right. And he was like, because if you wait any, it just hinders them. And so, because I could not figure out why I can't grow a giant tomato to save my life. I mean, I just can't get over 3 pounds, and I can get a garden tomato almost that big. So anyhow, he told me, he said, you're just going to have to figure out a time, that it just boom, boom. So I said, okay, May 15th, I'll start my giant tomatoes. Now I didn't get to because I was too busy, and I didn't get to today because I was planting tons of other stuff, and I got tons of crap I got done today. But anyhow, I had to step up over 300 pepper plants, and so I did that, and then I planted probably another, I don't know, 300 or 400 plants. But anyhow, tomorrow I'm going to finish starting all my other stuff, and giant tomatoes will be one of them. I'll get them started, and as soon as they fill this up, as soon as that root ball fills that right there up, I'm not going to step them up. I'm going to have the bed ready to go. I'm going to take them straight out of that cell, put them right in the ground, and let them go. That way I wasn't going to step them up at all. Whenever he told me that, I said, okay, I'll not step them up next year. I won't do any of that stuff. I'm just going to plant them. And as soon as they come up and they're about, 5-6 inches tall, I'll put them right in the ground and let them do their thing. And so that's the plan. I'm going to see if that won't, help, because evidently me having that stall period is the problem where they're growing fast and then I have to stall them out in order to wait for me to plant them out. Evidently that little bit of time is just hampering how they end up growing. So we're going to see if this doesn't do better. But it's not too late. So I mean, if you want to try, I encourage you to, man, because it's not too late. But
yeah, I'll think about that. I might give it another shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. Something else. Look,
I wasn't.
What is it?
One thing I wasn't going to do this year, I wasn't going to grow field pumpkins this year, jack-o'-lanterns. And I don't know why I said that, but guess what I did 2 days ago? I hadn't planted them yet, but I tilled up the patch. And let me tell you what, man, the dirt over there looks better than it's ever looked ever. And I can't wait to get some pumpkins.
That's good. That's awesome. You want some state record ones to grow?
I don't know why I wasn't going to. West Virginia state records?
Yeah, I got the state record for it. I grew it last year.
Is that 81 pound?
Yeah. Yeah. You need some seeds for it?
Send one my way.
Okay. I'll send you some.
I've got some field pumpkins in my giant patch, and I'm going to try and push for the West Virginia Fair. You've got to have those going already if you're going to have anything decent by the middle of August. So.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let me see here.
I don't know why I wasn't going to grow pumpkins because, my goal is to get my 16-foot trailer load full of nice jack-o'-lantern pumpkins and sell them in the fall festival in Clifton every year. And I haven't got to that point yet.
Right.
But what I have got to is over 100 pumpkins to feed pigs all winter long. So
is that how many
last all winter? No, that's how many I harvested 100 out of my patch last year.
Could they eat more than that?
Oh, they eat way more than that because we collected over 100 pumpkins. We collected over 200 pumpkins from the public.
Okay.
So yeah, we fed about 300 pumpkins all winter long.
Okay.
It's really good supplement to their food. So I don't know why I wasn't going to grow them. I was like,
well, listen,
they last all winter long. They're easy to grow.
Right. Well, look, you got to grow a giant tomato because first place at our way off is $200. Second place is $100, and third place is $50. And you definitely got to grow a field pumpkin because field pumpkin's $400 for first place, $200 for second place, and $100 for third place. So you got to grow a giant field pumpkin and a giant tomato so you can get that money, man. We got to get that money, buddy. But yeah, I'll send you some. I'll send you some of those out tomorrow, and anything else you might need. So,
you know what? We didn't say a thing about sunflowers. I am going to grow giant sunflowers, but I was
getting ready to ask you about that.
I haven't even started them yet. I was hoping to do that this week and hadn't got to it yet.
I usually start them about the 1st of June. I direct sow mine. I don't start them in cups. I direct sow them.
Yeah, that's what I do. There's no reason to put those in cups.
No. Well, I mean,
it's
I
like
don't know.
My pumpkin patch where I grow my jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. I usually start those on June 1st and plant on June 10th. But I'm going to try and get ahead of that this year because I think that might be why I'm not getting my trailer load for the fall festival, because I'm waiting a little bit too late. So I'm gonna try and get them in this week.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't start mine like that, the sunflowers in cups, but I'm going to try doing a couple of them like that this year. Here's why. The U.S. record holder, Alex Babbitt, he starts his in cups. So I don't know. If he's starting his in cups, maybe I'm gonna see if I start mine in cups and if they're any bigger than the ones I direct sow. So, but
I might start a few in cups. I considered starting some in cups so that I have an established plant that I can control where it gets planted and I know where it's going to be.
Right.
When you direct sow, unless you got everything protected really well from birds and chickens and dogs, you might end up with sunflower where you don't want sunflowers.
Yeah.
But the other side to that too is I will almost bet you money that sunflower is going to grow all over the place in the pumpkin patch, because I grew sunflowers over there last year, and I'm sure some seeds made it in the soil, and they'll germinate.
Oh yeah,
they'll volunteer.
Yep, they sure will. And like out here at my sunflower patch, where I put that what do they call it? I can't think of it. It's the plus sign looking raised bed. Anyhow, it's got sunflowers all over everywhere now. And I'm like, now I thought I picked every one of y'all out of here, but the birds go and they eat those ones, they drop them, and so there's tons of sunflowers all over there now. So I need to till it again. So I thought about going out there and digging all of them up, tilling it all up and putting them back. But then I'm like, well, crap, I don't know which ones these are, because I grew like 50 varieties in there last year. I mean, I think it was like actually 20 varieties in there. But anyhow, that's a lot of sunflowers, so it's like, so I don't know. I'll probably just leave them where they're at and direct sow the rest of them. I was trying to make that look like a, what do they call them? A mandala, right? Like those pretty pictures or whatever, that they color. I was going to make the reason why I put the raised bed like that and put those mulch pathways going in there, because I was going to plant each one of those squares. And whenever the sunflowers would bloom, I was going to take the drone up and look down on it. And I was going to do it in a design. I was going to take the different colors and do a design inside of there and see how it turned out from above. So I'm hoping that'll work out. I don't know if it will or not, but if it does, that's going to be pretty cool.
Good luck with that.
What is it?
Good luck with that.
Yeah. I hope it works out. So we got to control the chickens a little bit better. We need to get rid of them. Actually, we got too many of them. We need to get rid of some of them. So, but yeah. So you're going to grow sunflowers. You got your giant pumpkins going. You're going to grow some of my giant field pumpkins. You're going to try the giant tomatoes again. What else are you growing outside of that? Any other giants, or what's your actual garden looking like?
Well, I mean, I might do the watermelon. I might do the giant watermelon. I still have to make a decision on that. But, I'm going to have a hard time not growing it because it's looking really good in the house right now. But
what seed is
all these people. 139 Burchett.
Okay.
Burdett. 139 Burdett. It's what year before last, when I didn't know what I was doing and did a YouTube video. Man, I don't have the right seeds, and Richie Burdett sent me a whole box full of seeds, and that was part of that.
That's cool. That's real cool.
Yeah. So, I think as far as just normal gardening, we'll do several varieties of tomatoes and peppers, and I'd like to do lots of fall squash, because what we don't consume, the pigs eat. It lasts all fall and winter long if you treat it right. Butternuts and acorns and stuff like that. Right. Doing loofahs and birdhouse gourds this year.
That's
It'll
cool.
be first time for either one of those. Everybody makes the birdhouses, but I want to make canteens just because I don't see nobody doing it.
That would be pretty cool. But man, if it dries like it, they're kind of thin though, aren't they? Because the ones that I always grew, the birdhouse ones I grew, were thin. Like,
I don't know. I never grown them before.
Yeah, I don't know. They're a little bit thin. I got some dipper gourds that I'm going to try out this year. They're actually a long gourd times a dipper gourd. So there, it's a cross of it. I'm gonna try to grow those and play around with them a little bit as well. But
so tell me what you do with the long gourd after you show it and win your prizes and everything. What do you do?
Well, I'll have to send you a picture. Well, hang on a minute. Hey, Annie, come take my phone. Take a picture of that long gourd in there, and I'll see if I can't show them what I do with my long gourd after. Oh, well, if you can't, don't worry about it. So
I'm guessing you dried it.
Yeah, so it's dried, and I got the seeds out of it, and I put it in the living room. On this, there's like in the center of the living room. Well, not the center of the living room, center of the house, which is in the living room. There's like this little shelf, and I got all my deer hanging on that. And then there's nothing on the shelf, and Annie won't let me put all my NASCARs up there. So I put the long gourd up there, and that's where it's at. So that's what I do with mine. But you can do several different things. I actually made a birdhouse out of a couple of them. They ended up, let me see. I don't know how well y'all can see that. You see it on top of that shelf? It's like right behind the. Huh?
I can't make it out.
Right behind the deer. Yeah, it's let me see if I zoom it in a little bit. You can see it there.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, I've made birdhouses out of them. What I did with the one I grew in 2021 is I took little skewers, like little meat skewers, and I drilled holes in them and stuck those meat skewers through all the way through, and then I cut the ends off of them. That way it made like a platform inside of it, right? And I did that 5 different places. And then I drilled a hole above the platform with a hole saw, and birds could fly in there and have a place to nest on top of that platform I made out of those meat skewers. And so that's what I tried doing with that. It got too heavy and it broke. So that didn't work out very well. I had to figure out a better way of securing it and not letting the weight break it. But yeah, you can make birdhouses out of them. I think people make dippers out of them. I think they also make like some sort of ancient medieval piping that they use to like irrigate with stuff. Like if there's a creek, they use it to like irrigate like that, like you would with like bamboo and stuff. So there's all kinds of little things they do with it. But I just think there's huh?
Is it consumable? Would a pig eat
it? Yeah. When it's little, it is. Whenever it's I don't know. I guess I'd say probably 4 or 5 foot long. You could eat one easily. Still, they're not seedy until they get big, like really like old and long and big, like big around. Not because usually you can get a 4 or 5 foot one that's about that big around at the bottom and that big around at the top. So then you can eat them that way, just like you can eat loofah gourds. When loofah gourds are small, you can eat loofah gourds. Those are a lot of fun to grow. And if you're wanting to go to that fall festival, I would encourage you growing loofah gourds, man, because you can sell loofahs. I don't have any in here with me. A loofah gourd. You ever been in the store? They got, that's what they really are. They're those natural loofahs, right? So anyways, you can grow, man, I had 4 or 5 plants out there in 2021. It produced a brown bag full of seeds and like 90 or 100 loofah gourds. And they're easy to dry out, easy to strip down to the fibrous tissue inside that you make the loofah out of. People will buy them to make goat milk scrubs and goat milk soap scrubs. And what they'll do is they'll take and cut them to length to fit inside of their form or whatever, and they'll pour goat milk soap over it, let that harden up, and they've made a scrub. So we want to do that with some of the ones that I've grown. In fact, I got to grow them again to get ready for that. But yeah, goat milk scrubs you can make out of them. You can sell them for just loofahs. You can tie those really cool ropes on them and make a back scratcher with them, to where you people can throw it over their back and do like this with it. There's all kinds of things, man. You can sell loofah gourds for. So I mean, you might want to look into that.
Yeah, we're going to grow them. I bought the seeds for them from Baker's Creek. We're
okay, cool.
Them. Yeah, my intent was you can make soap out of pig lard. So that's kind of where I was going with it. Be able to fall festival, farmers market type of thing. So Kunekune lard soap loofah.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, that's the same concept then, just
instead of we'd be the only people that had it, and they'd sell like hotcakes, I would hope.
Oh, I guarantee it would. I mean, I guarantee it. You ever thought about making candles out of the lard too?
No,
Yeah, candles would be awesome, dude. It'd be something really cool.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? We farm socially, I like to call it. We farm socially with lots of people, become friends with lots of people we never even meet, but we farm socially with them. We stay in touch and talk about stuff.
Right.
And I'm thinking that somebody that we are in a relationship like that with had lard candles on their Facebook page the other day. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be great, man, because you can scent them. And I mean, it'd be just another avenue to make a little revenue, man.
Yeah, that's what all that's geared towards. You all got to look for little things like that to help you along the way. Pig feed costs a lot of money nowadays. So you got to take everything you got and try to make something out of it that can turn you into a little bit of
That's
revenue.
True. That's true. That's very true. So you want to get to a scale this year, and you're hoping you make it, right? What is your goal to get to that scale? What kind of weight do you want to get to?
It's just got to be scalable for you. I guess it's going to be the timing. Last year, I had to I went on my golf trip, which is in second week of August, and I couldn't remember the day, but I looked on the pictures when I harvested 250 pound. I lost the stem on it. Remember, the stem was puking on it. Then the fruit started to bruise. That was like 10 days after my golf trip, so it was a good 3 to 4 weeks before any weigh-offs. So it's going to be time. The timing's going to be the thing. If I got a fruit that's alive a day or two before a weigh-off, that's what's going to get harvested and go to the weigh-off.
There you go. Well,
yeah, I don't care what it weighs. If it's 100 pounds, it's 100 pounds. But we're going to.
What size? What size room are you giving them? How much room are you giving the plants?
Right now, with my current setup, each plant's got about 625 square feet.
That's
but
good.
Like we talked about earlier, if I eliminate the plants on the cross side, at some point in time, then that'll increase it to about almost 1,100 square feet per plant. And that's what I was going for square footage when I moved over to my garden. Where my pumpkin patch is now is where we're used to garden year after year after year. And I've been trying to grow giant pumpkins over there in that little old patch underneath all them trees. And I was like, man, movie things. So, and I asked Kelly, I said, what would you think about me swapping the pumpkin patch in the garden? And she said, I don't care what you do. So that was all I needed. And I did it.
There you go.
Yeah. So, if the alternative plants, the ones, I don't know if you see my pictures on Facebook, the ones in the greenhouses are the plants that I want to push the most.
Okay.
The ones across from them in those little huts may get eliminated at some point in time. If they do, that'll give me a whole almost 1,100 square feet per plant.
That'd be great.
But if those plants thrive, I'm going to continue to push them, and then that'll make me around the 625 square feet per plant.
And that's for 6 of them. You got 625 square foot for 6 plants, right?
That's right. Yep.
So, I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty daggone good. So,
however, I feel like I made a calculation error on my last hut, because if you stand back and look at it, it looks closer to the second hut than the second hut looks to the first hut. But the thing is, I have 25-foot extension cords going from each hut, and they're stretched out as far as they go. So I know it's the exact same measurement as the other two, but maybe it's just the layout of the land or something that's messing with my eyeballs.
Optical illusion.
Yeah, it looks like it's closer, but that 25-foot extension cord is stretched out to the max. So I know it's 25 feet, but
It's just
I was like,
optical
it's
illusion,
driving me
man.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's driving me crazy. I keep looking at it going, man, it looks like it's closer. I tried to make it so that each plant had a 22-foot wingspan.
Right.
And then they can run up to 50 feet long, but I'm not planning on running that long. That it's 52 feet all the way across the patch, but I put pumpkins on both sides to grow towards the middle, giving them roughly 25 feet each, 26 feet each.
So if you grow the new Virginia state record, how are they going to harvest it? What do you got to pick that joker up with? Do you got a lift ring? What do you got?
I
am I going to have to come down there and help you?
Well, I'm planning on buying one because I'm planning on needing one. But yeah, I'm probably still going to reach out for some help because I've never done it before. And lift ring or no lift ring, man, if I got that thing a couple feet up in the air, drive my trailer underneath of it, and it falls down or something, and you're going to see a grown man cry like a little baby.
Yeah. You definitely will, because there ain't nothing more heartbreaking.
Yeah, so I decided I was going to try and make me a lift ring and the knuckle and stuff. I'm pretty crafty with stuff like that.
Right.
I'm a millwright by trade. It falls right along the type of stuff that I do. But the more I thought about it, it was like what they call it, like $200.
The ring is the lift ring was $350 or $450, I think. I can't remember. I paid $350 or $450, I think, is what it was. So
yeah, but still, it's well worth every penny of it to keep you from dropping a state record pumpkin on the ground.
That's true. And the knuckle is another 100 on top of that. So however much that was is 100 more.
Yeah, so the thing about the knuckle, it could dual purpose for me because I could use it to harvest hogs, hang them and dip them in the water and stuff like that. So I feel like that's a purchase.
I will say this: the knuckle is very, very easy to build. You could do that in the afternoon, dude, for sure. The problem with it, the problem with it is the cost of the pipe. The reason why last year I didn't, because I was going to buy the knuckle, and the reason why I didn't is because I called the place for the pipe, and in 21 it was $80 for a 20 or 21 foot long pipe, and last year it was $200 for that pipe. One pipe.
Pipe's still pretty expensive. I was going to build me a hoop house out of electrical conduit, and I went to buy it, and it was way more expensive than I think it should be. And I said, I'm not going to invest that kind of money in a hoop house. So you can buy a hoop house on Amazon for less than what you could buy the conduit for to build one.
Right. So I will tell you that the knuckle, you can build it easy, but the pipe, it's out of sight for it. So what I did is I built, so that gantry out there that I built to lift my pumpkins with, I paid and built it for the price of one leg. All right. That was 16. I bought 16-foot long 4x4s to use. You don't need 16 footers. Way too heavy, way too awkward to move, and you don't need that much height. You need, what I did is I cut 4 foot off of it and made it 12 foot long, which is plenty enough. 12 foot high is plenty enough. It's not awkward to move around. It's not flimsy and stuff. But I made it 6 to that 2x6, or 4x6 is I think 12 foot wide. I think is what it is. And you don't need a 12 foot wide those either. A 10 foot wide to 8 foot wide would have been, 8 foot wide's kind of pushing it a little bit, I think, because if you're trying to maneuver a trailer in there or something. But 10 foot wide would have been plenty. I don't want to take it apart to make it 10 foot now because it's already up in the air and I want to do that. But just if you end up going that route, 10-foot would be a lot better than 12, and then 12-foot long 4x4s is perfect. But the swing set frame is $60 on Amazon. That's the ends that you see on there, the green ends, and that holds your 4x6 in place for your beam, and then it holds your 2 legs on each side. And they send you the mounting brackets, the mounting brackets and the bolts to mount them with. So you don't just get just the brackets; you actually get the bolts too for $60. So that's a lot cheaper to do it that way. But go ahead.
I went home and looked around the place. I could probably find all that stuff. I got tons of stuff that I repurpose and salvage and junk laying around.
Right.
I got stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mean, if you can build one, I'd definitely recommend doing it that way, because, like I said, them pipes are just way too high. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what you grow, man. I think you're going to have a good year. I think the first couple years you grew, you just kind of had bad luck. The weather wasn't cooperating. I don't think it's really anything that you were doing necessarily wrong. I think you did pretty good. I think it just fell down to bad weather.
Yeah, I don't think I fed real good last year, but I have a feed plan in place this year, and it's already started, and I'm going to stick to it strictly. Another thing I'm going to do is I like to play golf, and at my lunch break at work, I went down the driving range all summer long and hit golf balls on the driving range. I'm not doing that this year. This year, I'm going to use my lunch break. I'm going home and doing pumpkin maintenance.
There you go.
And though like you said, the weather was just terrible. The patch would have an inch of water laying in it for a day or more at a time through all of August. When all them rainstorms came in August, it rained more in August last year than I've ever seen it rain in summer.
Yep, it rained a lot.
We got a really bad storm today. I'm anxious to go home and see how my patch drained.
Yeah, it didn't do too bad here. It was pretty mild here.
We got hammered. We were talking about the 1825 quality being out in the weather. I'll be surprised if it's still living after when I get home. So,
yeah.
But if it's not, I'll put the watermelon down there and call it good. It's not a plant I intended on growing anyway.
Well, it sounds like you got a plan, man, and I hope it all falls into place for you, and hope you get to have a good, successful season. So,
I look forward to it. I got a good feeling about it this year, man.
That's good.
And I'm doing a lot of things that need to be done. The last couple of years, I questioned a lot of stuff. Like last year, wind fence was one of the things I questioned. I said, yeah, I know you need it, but do you really need it? And it wrecked my 1152 Caspers last year. Wind wrecked it 3 times and ultimately killed it.
Yep.
So guess what? Yep. This year I got proper wind fence. So it's little things like that you keep doing better at every year.
That's really all it is. Because here's the thing: unless you're rich, or got all kinds of time, there's no way that you could get everything or know everything that there is to growing a giant pumpkin your first year. You know what I mean? So every year you just got to improve, get some new equipment to work with, figure out new technique, whatever, and build upon that from one year to the next. And that's what creates a really good grower. Not just pumpkin grower, but any grower.
Yeah. So I already got something like that going on this year. My thing this year that said, yes, I know I need, was it really necessary, is walk boards. And I'm going to do walk boards, but in the back of my mind, I'm going, man, do you really got to have walk boards? But I'm taking the exact same path to do my pumpkin maintenance in my patch right now. And the soil looks like concrete.
Yep.
So, yeah, I know I need walk boards, but it was that thing on the list this year. I was like, I'm going to do it, but do I really need to do it? And I'm finding out, yeah, you need to do this.
You got to do it. And let me tell you something. If you got somebody down there that has rough cut lumber, that you can get rough cut lumber from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got plenty of that. I got plenty of lumber from that barn.
Okay. Because I got a guy up here.
Yeah, I got
it. He gets me rough cut lumber. He cuts it, and I use that for my walking boards. Just
That's
even
what
if you.
I'm gonna use 2x8s. I'm gonna use the 2x8s that were left over from the farm barn.
Okay.
And I got old fence posts. So those will be the 3.
There you go.
So I definitely need to do that soon. I need to stop putting it off because I definitely see the impact in the soil. And the good thing is I'm not walking in the patch. I'm walking all on the border of it.
Right.
So I'm not hurting anything on the inside. But the day's coming where you're going to need to walk on the inside.
Now, I will ask this: do you got a stirrup hoe?
What is that? Oh, yeah, you're talking about. It looks like a little
loop hoe. Yeah,
yep.
Stirrup. Looks like a stirrup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. Bought that last year.
Those are by far our best friends. You know what I mean? You can reach up in there, get them all out. You ain't pulling them up out of there. I love.
I've already been using it. Yeah, I've already been using it because the patch is getting overrun with grass in some parts, and I just take that in there. I'm trying to keep up with it so it's not overwhelming, and I just take that in there and get it out. Cool. The one thing that I'm not going to get this year that I'm going to find out that I should have got, and we'll have one next year, is I'm not going to broad fork this year. But I think I'm going to find out that I probably should have done that.
Yeah, I broad fork, and I like it. In fact, now that I'm done, if I have to do anything for the patch right now, I'm broad forking it.
Yeah,
I'll just broad fork it from here on out if I have to get in there and mess around. I won't. A lot of guys will go back in there and they'll till again. I'm done tilling now. I've got everything tilled in. I'm just going to go broad forking from here on out. You're cut. I don't hear you. What was it?
I was thinking about doing one final till on the inside of the patch, inside the huts, but it's going to depend on what I see from this water drainage from this storm. If I don't like what I see from that, I'm probably not going to till.
Well, be very careful. If your plant is 6 foot long, your roots are 6 foot out.
Right.
That's kind of rule of thumb.
Yeah, it's 3 times, isn't it? I thought they grow 3 times the diameter of the plant.
I don't know. I just know Mark Clements always said on his videos, if a plant's 6 foot long, it's 6 foot out. So, I don't. It might be bigger than that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep that in mind and stay well away from my plants. I'm just talking about doing the interior of the patch where nothing's extended to yet.
Okay.
But again, that's going to all depend on what it looks like this rainstorm did to the patch. If I like the way that the soil drained, it's a little bit clumpy in a few places, but if I like the way it drained, I think I'm just going to leave it alone.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if you're having a little bit of issues draining, I highly recommend getting some biochar and putting in there. And biochar will definitely help the drainage problems, dude. I have seen a huge difference after having used biochar this season compared to other seasons. My raised beds look better. The patches are looking really good now with it in there. So I really like what biochar has done for it. So I highly recommend using that to help with your drainage if you're having issues with drainage.
Yeah, biochar was a road I wanted to go down already this year, and I just haven't had time to do it. But it
I understand that. If you can find some Asplunda guys or tree cutters, tree trim service, have them deliver you some wood chips there, man, and just biochar it yourself like I did. That worked out really well. I mean, I also used Wakefield biochar. I do use that as well, but they can't give me 2 tons of it, right? I mean, I need a lot of biochar, so they couldn't give me all that, but so I had to make my own. But yeah, I mean, Wakefield's got some good biochar too. So if you can't make it, you can get some of that from them. It's good stuff. I mean, it's really not. I like the texture of it. I like how it done. All my plants had that in the mix this year, and they're looking phenomenal. I've got the best looking plants I've ever had, and they're all in pot still, and they are absolutely looking great. And most of them are my seed. I have things out there, but I don't think anything that I grew from some other people is anywhere close to the ones that I grew that from my own stock. So, and I'm not saying that in a bragging way. I'm just saying for whatever reason, mine looked the best out of all of them, and I've got the best looking plants I've ever had. So we're going to double plant just like you did and see which ones make it out in the dog fight. But I've got some phenomenal looking plants, and I'm excited. So, but I think a lot of me tweaking a lot of the different things, putting biochar in the mix with the Malibu compost and the Malibu seed starter mix. I think that all kind of helped shape them and stuff, because I ain't even fed them yet. Not even fed them, and I also put Versity and Azos in the mix as well. So I think that might have had something to do with it too. So I've got some good looking.
That's what I did on my test plants. It was all about testing the things that I was adding to the soil, and grew in clear cups so I could watch what the roots were doing. And my God, man, it's amazing watching them. You could almost sit there and watch the cup and watch that root wrap around.
It's fun, ain't it? If you don't have a time-lapse camera, man, you need to get you one, because those are fun. Time-lapse cameras.
I have a GoPro.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, the only bad thing about the GoPro is the battery life on them. I got that Breno, and that Breno can run for 365 days straight without a battery change. Yeah, and it was cheaper than the GoPros.
I use the GoPro for B-reel footage. When you're making a YouTube video, something to throw in there for 10 seconds.
Right.
And I complained to Kelly at the time that how do these people use these GoPros doing these extreme sports and stuff, because the battery life is terrible.
Sucks.
I mean, you can't reel for an hour. Hey, hunting, I had one. I got a rig where it hooks up to my rifle barrel.
Right.
And the first time I ever used it, I turned the camera on so it would be ready to go at a given moment. And I didn't know those. That's my first experience with it. That's when I found out these batteries don't last no time at all. You can't do that. You gotta
they're horrible. I get better battery life out of my it's a Spy Point action cam. Okay. It looks like a GoPro in a lot of ways, but it don't have an external battery that you can pull out and charge. It's got an internal that stays all in there all the time. I get better battery life out of that Spy Point action cam that I paid $50 for or whatever than I do my $300 GoPro. That is just pitiful. It's absolutely pitiful. I don't even use it anymore. I've not used it since I got my new iPhone and my big camera.
Well, that's how I ended up with the GoPro. I bought it for Kelly when she was complaining that she never gets the good pictures. It takes too long to get her phone out. If you follow the Facebook page, she's taking 8 million pictures of the animals every day, and it all goes on Facebook. So I bought her that GoPro so that she could wear it around doing her chores and stuff and have it on, and it would catch everything all the time. Right. Well, she never really used it, so I kind of took it over. That's how I ended up with it. DJI makes a sport camera.
Yep, they do. It's a very good one too.
Yeah, I looked at it, but it costs way more money than I was interested in spending on something like that.
You're right. It is a lot. It's the it's not the OM, because I got an OM5, which is the gimbal for your phone, the OM5.
Yeah.
And then they make the action. Yeah. They have two different things. They have one that is a handheld that's it's just a gimbal. Looks like the one on my drone. The camera looks like the one on the drone. They have that, and then they have an actual action camera. Now that one that's like on that little thing that looks like an OM5 that has the drone camera on it. Now that's not so bad. Let me see here. I've actually been looking.
I got a buddy that I've got a buddy that has a YouTube page. It's called Wolf Speed Shot, and that's what he uses, that DJI pocket camera.
Yeah.
It's on a little stick. It's got a real tiny camera on it, and that's what he uses to make everything. And he makes really good videos.
Osmo is what it's called. DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I've been looking at that, man, and I think they're pretty neat looking. I mean, I think the price is pretty phenomenal, but I don't think you can see it.
When I bought my OM5, I almost bought that instead, but I decided I wanted the ability to use either of my phones, so I
Yep.
bought the gimbal instead.
That's exactly what I did. I was the same way. I thought about buying this, and then I switched over to the phone or to the OM5 so I could use the phone. But
And
I
I've been
mean,
through a lot of gimbals. They don't last; they're all junk. But I will say that this DJI is 100 times better than anything I've ever touched before.
yep.
And
I'm
DJI,
not
if you're watching this, send me another one for free.
right. I'm gonna tell you right now. I have bought everything. I bought the DJI drone that I have, which is the Mavic Air 2, and then I bought the OM5 for my phone. Turned around and bought the Ronin, which is for my camera, and I would have bought the headphones, the or not the headphones, the mics that they sell, but I was not going to pay what they wanted for those mics. I thought,
And
nah.
that's exactly where I was at. I really struggle with sound, and I was shopping for really good microphones, and I wanted theirs, but it's just out of my price range.
Yep, that's how it was with
I'm
me.
actually
And I'm glad they were, because I went and got those other ones, and man, them things are awesome. I have not had any issues out of them. They function good. They charge well. They hold their charge a good long while. I love them. The only thing I could complain about is that I wish they would stay clipped a little bit better. Like, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
like when I'm wearing a jacket and working, sometimes they'll pop off, but I mean, it takes a good while, but that's other than
Man,
that, I love those.
I had one pop off in the dark the other day, and I picked up my tripod and carried it to another location a good ways away. And when I got there, I realized, daggone it, my microphone came off. And
Yep.
man, I just got lucky and found it. I just made a U-turn and went back the same path I walked on. I just got lucky and found it.
Yep. I mean, I do that too, man. And I'm like, oh crap, where'd it go? I hope I didn't knock it off and tilt over top of it or something stupid.
Yeah.
But I got those the Hollyland M1 Larks, or Lark M1s is what they're called. And they're working really good. What ones do you have?
I couldn't even tell you. I'd have to go home and look at them. I don't remember what they are. They're
Yeah.
not yours or as good as yours or expensive as the ones you got. I got something a little cheap.
Right.
But so work with the DJI app. So that's basically all I need.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm satisfied with them right now. As long as they continue to last. You know, my biggest thing with buying stuff on Amazon is you get junk and it don't last.
Yep. Oftentimes that is the case.
I'll shoot you a text or something when I get home, and I'll look at them and see what brand they are. I don't remember what brand they are right off the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah. Because I'd be interested in knowing, man. But
they got this little thing that goes in your phone on the end here.
Right.
Can you see that?
No. I can now.
Yeah. So I got to plug the receiver in my phone. Then the mic's wireless, and I clip it on.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times, I clip it on my tripod and I walk away from it because it's oftentimes right here. It's way too loud. Even with the wind guard thing on it, you can hear me breathing. Like if I'm walking around talking, you can hear me breathing way too much. And I don't like that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, mine picks me up breathing.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll leave it with the tripod. I got a little tie wrap on the tripod, and I'll clip it on that, and it picks me up pretty good for about 25 feet or so.
Yeah, mine does that too, and I'm like, oh crap! Yeah, it sounds like Darth Vader. And
yeah.
So
I had some hunting videos that I made that never even made it on YouTube. I was like, yeah, I'm not putting that on here. It's like,
well, you can on those mics though. What I learned is if you'll remember, you have to make it a habit. But if you'll remember, as soon as you get it out, turn the gain on that down, or at least on mine, you can turn it down so you don't get as much volume, as much noise and stuff. And mine has noise cancellation, so I could hit that, and if I could remember, I would be able to hit it and cancel that out too. Probably a lot of it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'll tell you, my microphones pick up chickens really well too.
That's funny. I think all microphones pick up chickens really well because
I can't make a YouTube video without having a rooster in the background going,
that's exactly. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Mine does the same thing too, man. So yeah. Well, I guess I'm gonna let you go. We've been on here for 2 hours, man. So it's been a good one. So is there anything that we might have missed that you could think of, or
No, I just Sooners litters coming in. Let's see here. 12 days. She's doing 12 days. So we're gonna have more piglets coming real soon.
is she going to furrow in the other one?
Yeah,
On the back side of the house.
Yeah, the one where you picked up your pig at. That's where she'll go.
Okay.
I got to spend the next few days getting it ready, and we'll put her in there this weekend. That'll be a week prior. Give her 7 days, get acclimated. She's a try, so we're looking forward. She's a try. Ginger, white, black, bred with a brown banded Andrew boar. So we're expecting a lot of fancy colors out of this litter.
That'd be pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So and she's a good conformation pig too. When we talk about meat pigs, she's beautiful hands, man.
Is this her first litter too?
It is. She's going to be graduating from the gilt class up to the sows.
Cool.
And then we won't have any gilts left. And Shadow is obviously a gilt, but I'm not counting her because she's not breeding age.
Right. She's almost though. She's getting close.
She's almost, but she's not intended to be bred. So
right. What are you going to do with her? You going to eat her?
I don't know. We're just going. I mean, that was the plan when we put her out there. But like we talked about earlier, her conformation is taking a turn for the better, and she's such a good-looking pig. We just might breed her. It's something me and Kelly have talked about.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so we got that coming, and Kelly's monitoring the interested list. If you want to get on it, just shoot a message to Hematite Homestead on Facebook. Hey, believe it or not, we've sold every single pig in the last 5 years through Facebook Messenger. People see them on Facebook. They contact us on Messenger. And of course, you saw them on YouTube. You contacted us on Messenger. And that's how we sold every single pig. The only offset to that is the lady that got us into Kunekune was our mentor from the start. Sent somebody to us, and they called us on our telephone, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. Our Facebook page has all our contact information, phone number, email. If you want on the list, just shout at us. Keep a close look on the Facebook page and look for Hematite Homestead on Facebook. There are piglet overload right now.
That's fun.
Kelly's a very good social media manager, and she's posting stuff every 10 minutes. It seems like. So
how many gilts and how many boars you got?
Let's see. Peaches had 5 boars and 2 gilts. One passed away, so we're down to 1. And it was 4 gilts to 3 boars in Coco's litter, I think, if I'm correct, if I remember that correctly. Coco had more gilts than boars.
Okay.
4. I'm pretty sure it was 4 and 3.
So,
and if I remember correctly, it was 2 black ones and 2 brown ones, females.
Yep.
And then 2 black boars and 1 brown boar.
So, what are going to be the prices on these pigs so everybody knows?
It depends on. There's no way to price them until we start grading them for confirmation.
Okay.
Typically, and this is just in the ballpark, the price fluctuates. Typically, we sell unregistered pig, which means it doesn't meet the breed standard, for $250, and we've been selling registered pigs for $550. That's been traditionally what we do, but it's going to all depend on confirmation and where they score against breed standard. That'll be the deciding factor, and we won't do that for a few weeks.
Okay.
We have had some people reach out to us for pets. The pet registry is a little bit different than registering for breeding. The standard is obviously not as strict, and we're going to reach out to some of our social farmers we talked about earlier and our mentors, and in order to price those, because we're not really sure where to be on those because we've never sold pets before.
If it were me, I would think pet pigs would be more than a farm pig.
Well, I don't know that. It, I
I
mean,
mean, I'm
since,
just thinking, you know.
yeah, we've
I
done
mean,
some research and we've seen where people sell pets from anywhere to $300 to $600, but the region depends. It depends on the region too. You know,
that's yeah,
pig,
that's true.
pigs in Southwest Coonies in Southwest Virginia are a different price than Coonies in Oklahoma or Texas or Pennsylvania. So it all depends on the region.
That's true.
We're trying to stay competitive in the region. And with that being said, we haven't raised our prices. We've been selling them like this ever since 5 years ago. We started this thing. Our prices have never changed,
Right.
and I'm pretty sure one of the we're probably on the cheaper side. You know,
Yes, you
we've we've,
are.
we've seen
But
these things in $100 to $1,500 range, but the quality of the pig is what matters. So it's
right.
hard to put words to it. You see a lot of people on Facebook Marketplace and this place and that place selling what they're calling Kunekune pigs, and half of them aren't Kunekune pigs, half of them are pot bellies,
Yep.
and they're selling for $25 or whatever. And then you try and sell Kunekune for $550, $600 or whatever. The first response you get from somebody is, "Well, I saw so and so selling it for $25." Well,
Yep.
this pig is not what they're selling.
Right. Exactly. And
Yeah,
we've been through that. You know, Petunia is a prime example of that. You know, oh, she's Kunekune. We get down there. Oh, well, she's Kunekune and micro pig, and it's like micro pig ain't even a thing, man. You know,
yeah, and, that's okay in some cases. There's Cooney IPP crosses and Cooney Hereford crosses and stuff like that. But you know, Coonies and potbellies or Coonies and guinea hogs, those just aren't valuable pigs. And when somebody sells them for $25, $35, and then that buyer comes to us and tries to treat us like we don't know what we're doing because the pig's
right,
only worth $25, it's actually the other way around.
right,
So,
exactly.
but I will say that for the most part, probably the 95% range, people that come to us for pigs know what we got and are happy with the price.
Yep. I was very happy with it, and been happy with her whole temperament, and just she's just a loving pig, and a whole lot better than Petunia ever thought about being. So we've really enjoyed Violet, and if we got to figure out the Wilbur thing, but I think we just need to go on ahead and pull the trigger and get another one of your boars, well, another one of your pigs, first boar. That way we got something for Violet whenever she comes of age. Well, whenever he comes of age, because she'll be older than him. But anyhow, um, you know, y'all have got you're very knowledgeable. You got really nice pigs, a really great establishment there, and like you said, you've not raised your prices, and you've had every reason to need to raise, to not want
Yeah.
to, but need to raise your prices because of the everything that we're living in, and you've not done that, and I really appreciate that.
Well, I mean, let me just put this huge disclaimer out there. Don't hold me to those prices because it's all going to depend on how they score, and what the
right,
confirmation is like. It,
right,
you know, it, it could turn out to be that we'll let one go for $100, but
right,
we also might have $1,000 pig in the batch.
right,
So
absolutely. But I mean, but that's all for people who are in it, like you guys. Y'all are in it for how well does this look. We're going you're going to be doing it for breeding and all sorts of different things. I mean, you guys are truly for the entire community of Coonies. You'll have your quality pigs, that'll score high, and then you'll have your farm pigs, that maybe they just want to have one to eat, or maybe they want to have one to breed at home just to make more pigs so they can have more meat. You guys got a little bit of everything down there. You guys don't try to cater to one side or the other. You're pretty fair about that as well. So
yeah, I'm hoping to increase our meat pig number 2. Right now, we've only got 2, 3 if we count Shadow, which that is currently the intent for her. But so we'll just say 3, and that doesn't go very far, 2 of them are the same age, and when you harvest those, now we only got 1, so we need to put some more stock back into that.
That's true.
Especially if we get on the road of the charcuterie and stuff like that I want to get to, then you definitely need a meat stock, and that's where your culls come into place. Ones that don't meet the breed standard, but that's where they go.
There you go. Yep, and that's a perfect way to do it.
Something about not raising prices. I have a couple fellows that buy eggs from me weekly at work, and I'm still selling them for $2. And those guys told me, "Here's $5." I said, "No, I'm not taking $5."
Right.
And they're like, "But the cost of eggs." And I said, "These aren't the cost. These aren't Walmart eggs, okay? I got these farm, and yeah, they cost me money, but I will never make money on eggs. I don't have enough chickens to make money on eggs. It will.
I know what you mean.
So why charge $5 for them?"
Right. Well, and that's like us. It's the whole reason why we got into doing the fancier breeds was so that we could sell those fancier chicks if we wanted to. So, but you're right. We don't have room here. You guys don't have them have that many there. So yeah, why raise the prices? You're right.
Yeah, there's no point. I'm never going to make money on them. So.
Right. And that wasn't the intent with them either. You wasn't trying to make money on them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we didn't get them for that. When we first started, chickens were our gateway, just like everybody else.
Yep.
We had 10 chickens, and now we got 28 Kunekunes running around.
Right. Well, look, man.
All right, thanks so much for. And maybe one day we'll get this internet situation solved at home, and we can put the cameras right in the barn, and we can look at them live, man.
Hey, it sounds good. Anytime you want to do it again, man, I've got other openings up, so if you want to come back in July or August, I'd like to have you, and we can see what's going on then, whether you got a giant pumpkin or some baby Kunekunes left on the ground.
Well, you know what? We'll talk. It might be a good idea to do an 8-week catch up on these guys and see how far they came in the last 8 weeks.
That would be fine. That'd be a lot of fun. So we can talk and try to square that out.
Yep.
So, but I'm gonna run through this real quick. Next Tuesday, May 23rd, we got Cattywampus Acres. Jason's gonna be with us. We're gonna talk about goats and some other things that he's got going on down there. Mini donkeys. Who knew mini donkeys was a thing? What's their purpose? You're going to find all that stuff out next week when we talk to Jason from Cattywampus Acres. May 30th, we're going to take a break from the farming and the giant pumpkin, and we're going to have Trophy Smack on. Trophy Smack is the proud sponsor of the Size Does Matter Challenge, which both of us are in. And, there can only be one winner. You know what I mean, brother? So anyhow, June 6th, we have Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona coming on. She is awesome. Can't wait to have Sandy on June 6th. June 13th, we've got Homestead Aquarius. He's going to be joining us. He is the one that is my captain of Team Wilson, and we're in on that challenge this summer as well, trying to grow or catch or kill the most food for this year. So we either catch, clean, and cook it, or, being fish, or we go hunting and we kill it, or we butcher it from the yard, or we grow it. So whatever we grow, we weigh all that stuff, and we total all those weights up, and hopefully Team Wilson will come away with a win. They should, because they got a giant grower on the team. So let's see how that works out for them. Then on June 20th, we have 2 Doctors Homestead coming on. Great group of a great couple from, I believe, I don't want to say it. I think they're from Kentucky, but I don't want to say that because I might be wrong. Sorry if I am. But anyhow, they're going to come on. Love their channel as well. You guys go check them out too. 2 Doctors Homestead. And then June 27th, we have A.N.T coming on. A.N.T is a great person. Go check out her as well. July 3rd is open. July 11th is open. July 18th, we've got Extreme Gardening and Travis Ginger coming back on to give us an update on his patch and my patch and Extreme Gardening and what they got going on. August 15th, we have Tony from Wakefield Biochar coming on. Talk to us about the biochar that I use out here in my patch. And then from there on, it's empty. So, guys, if you want to be on the show, please email me at babydrill2119@yahoo.com. Be more than happy to get you guys filled in one of these dates here. So, guys, that's all I have. Steven, you got anything?
All right. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. I really appreciate you coming on. So, guys, that's all from us here at the Homestead. And we'll see you tomorrow right here in the hollers and hills of West Virginia. See y'all.